Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a horror film, Cabin Fever Part 2. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. One day near a creek, we see a bloated man. He crawls his way out of the creek and walks around the woods. We see that his flesh is rotten and easily falling off. He wanders around the forest and later arrives at a highway. He tries crossing the road, a school bus crashes into him, and he explodes into a puddle of blood and flesh. After the bus crash, a sheriff arrives at the scene and inspects the victim's mushy remains. Once he is done inspecting, he talks to the bus driver who is guilty of the accident. Sheriff says to the bus driver that he just ran over an unlucky moose and he has nothing to worry about. Shortly after, he lets the bus driver continue on his way to school. After the bus leaves, Sheriff finds a detached foot on the side of the road, but he doesn't seem to care. Moments later, Sheriff gets a call telling him to come back, since investigators from the city are visiting. So he prepares to go back to the station to meet his boss, but he gets startled by a truck carrying water supplies from the reservoir. Meanwhile, it's shown that the truck carrying bottled water seems to have their factory connected to the creek, which might be infected with the unknown disease. The truck arrives at the school and hands them their water supply. Shortly after, we see a girl getting one of the water bottles and drinking from it. An emo boy, nicknamed Emo Boy, compliments the girl. Shortly after, he gets into an argument with his friend John about whether they should go to the prom or not. Emo Boy also makes fun of John for liking his childhood friend Cass because he is being shy to ask her to prom. Suddenly, the school bell rings and Emo Boy leaves John. Just then, John gets bullied by Cass' ex-boyfriend Mark because he heard rumors that John has been asking Cass to go to prom. He warns John to stay away from Cass' hormones. After their conversation, Mark drags John to his next class, to which he arrives late. So John is told to go to the principal's office. When he arrives, the principal scolds him for starting a fight with Mark. So John tries to plead his innocence, but the principal doesn't believe him. The principal then gives him a pass to go to his next class. In John's biology class, Emo Boy hears about their fight and makes fun of him again. After that, Emo Boy sees other students being excited about the prom and starts thinking that he'll go as well. However, since he can't find a partner, he starts whining. The biology teacher gets irritated at him and kicks his smelly ass out of the class. After that, Emo Boy wanders around the hallways while breaking the prom decorations. Emo Boy arrives in a room along with a girl named Liz. He talks to her and learns that her ex dumped her. Emo Boy holds her hand, tells her she's beautiful, and that her ex is dumb for dumping her. This later leads to a nasty tongue massage in the restroom. As they go further, Emo Boy notices that she has some blisters in her mouth, indicating she might have STD. Moments after, he asks Liz to prom, but she refuses and tells him that the nasty thing won't happen again. Persistently, Emo Boy insists, and Liz accepts his invite as she has time after work. Meanwhile, John is greeted outside the school by two nerds who invite him for a movie night instead of going to the prom. He declines them and brags that he'll be going to prom. Just then, Cass arrives and greets them. John accompanies Cass to walk to her home. When they arrive, John asks her to be his date. However, she refuses since she has family matters at home. In disappointment, John decides not to go to prom and thinks about going to the movie night with the two nerds. Later at night, Sheriff eats out at a diner. While eating his pancakes, a man beside him starts having a seizure. A superstitious woman helps the man by exorcising him, thinking the devil possessed him. Sheriff tells the waitress to call 911 since he's only a sheriff and does not know what to do. Just then, the man starts ripping off his clothes. His flesh is seen being ripped along with the clothes and his blood squirts to the other people in the diner. Sheriff manages to dodge the blood and runs away. While he drives, he recalls a similar incident in the past where he threw a diseased man in a creek near a cabin. After thinking for a while, he realizes that the creek is connected to the water bottle factory and the disease spreads because of it. Without hesitation, he heads to the water bottle factory to confirm his suspicions. Moments after, he arrives at the factory and investigates their supplies. Meanwhile, the whole school is preparing for prom night. Emo Boy calls John to inform him that he will date Liz and asks if John could accompany him tonight. However, John refuses since he didn't get Cass as his date and he hangs up. Emo Boy repeatedly calls John and begs him to come. This time, John accepts Emo Boy's request and dresses up for prom. Meanwhile, we see a chubby girl drinking from the water bottle made from the infected creek. While Emo Boy prepares for prom night, he notices that one of his fingernails is loose. He tries prying it off of his finger, but to no avail. To fix it, he glues it back in and proceeds to dress up. At the school, the chubby girl is seen preparing fruit punch for prom. She uses tap water, and the water is bloody and gross. Just then, she is approached by a blonde guy from their biology class. The blonde guy invites the chubby girl to the school pool. The janitor gets irritated by the couple, and it seems that the janitor has started growing blisters in his mouth, indicating he is now infected. He vents out his anger by pouring his stinky water on the fruit punch. However, while peeing, he starts leaking blood rather than water. At the pool, the guy notices blood and asks if it's her period. However, the entire pool turns red as blood continues to flow. Not long enough, the chubby girl starts losing her teeth instead of losing her weight. This disgusts the blonde guy a lot, so the guy pulls away, and he reveals that he only played the greasy hormone game with her because of a bet with his friends. However, the chubby girl starts to sink into the pool. The blonde guy tries pulling her out of the pool, but he only gets pulled in and hits his head on the curb. On the other hand, John and Emo Boy arrive at the prom. Emo Boy is excited that he'll get a date, and he is glad that John is with him. During that time, Sheriff checks the paperwork in the factory and learns that batches of water bottles are continuously being shipped to the school. Since it's too late, he calls his cousin and tells him that they should get out of the town. Just then, the investigators start arriving at the factory. Sheriff passes them the investigation case and reports the contaminated water supply to the guard. In a turn of events, the guard gets killed by the investigators, and they are revealed to be from the Contamination Control Division, or CCD for short. Sheriff learns that the town is designated for a purge, and the disease is quickly spreading. Meanwhile, at the gym, the students are all partying, while John and Emo Boy wait for Liz. One of the students freaks out because she finds out that the blonde guy is missing, and he was supposed to be the prom king. Emo Boy realizes that Liz is a no-show, but he enjoys the prom regardless of that. He also tells John to be careful of the punch, since it smells like someone pissed on it. Despite Emo Boy's warning, he still takes a cup. But before he can drink it, Cass arrives and surprises him. She tells him that she changed her mind and wants to go to prom with him. However, they are interrupted when Mark arrives to ruin their date, and he warns John again. John has the balls to attack him, but to no success as Mark practices martial arts. Before the fight escalates, the principal drags John away. Cass hates Mark even more because of this, so she walks out and leaves him. Outside the school, the principal scolds John, even though Mark started the fight. It seems that the principal sides with Mark, since he's rich. After the scolding, John walks out in anger, while Cass follows him. When Cass catches up with John, they have an argument because of Mark. Their argument is interrupted when the CCD arrives and tells them to go back inside the school. Right after they get inside, the CCD starts barricading the school. Inside, John and Cass go near the pool, where they spot the chubby girl's rotting but greasy corpse. They realize that the CCD is locking them up for quarantine. John refuses to be locked, so he plans an escape with his friends. He tells Cass to get Emo Boy, while he tells the principal about the situation outside. The principal doesn't believe his warning at first, until he sees the CCD outside the school doors. The principal goes to them and demands answers. Suddenly, the CCD shoots the principal in the head, taking his shitty life. Meanwhile, the prom king and queen are about to be announced. However, it is interrupted when several students start vomiting blood. Soon after, the gym is gassed, and soon the students and staff inside die. The surviving students in the gym are desperately trying to get out to save themselves from the deadly gas. At the same time, Cass and the two boys see the janitor asking for help, and they notice that his face is rotting. John realizes that the disease is so much worse and worries that the CCD is out to kill all of them. Shortly after, when the screams from the gym quiet down, the CCD enters to make sure they're all dead. Cass and the two boys escape to the locker rooms and check themselves if they're infected. Unfortunately, Emo Boy finds himself infected, growing blister. He convinces the others that it is just herpes from Liz, but John knows it looks much worse than herpes. Meanwhile, in the girls' locker room, Cass searches for infections. Then she hears someone crying near her and follows the voice. She finds a pregnant student having a miscarriage. The student approaches Cass and begs for help. However, Cass tries to stay away from her to avoid getting infected. Just then, the woman dies when her smelly private part spills out her guts with her body rotting. Shortly after, John arrives and tells Cass that Emo Boy ran away since he is in denial of being infected. Because of that, they need to find a way to escape by themselves. Meanwhile, Emo Boy is seen running around the school as he finds someone dead in a mascot costume. Moments after, he hears gunshots and hides when the CCD searches the area. At that time, John and Cass go to the room and find their biology teacher. The teacher asks for their help, but they ignore her. Seconds later, a CCD personnel finds the teacher and shoots her while Cass and John hide. Later on, the couple arrives at the auditorium where they discover an unlocked exit. However, Emo Boy is still missing, and they decide to find him. After a short search, they find it in a library currently at the last stage of the disease. Emo Boy tells them that he should be left behind as he has no chance of being saved. Cass checks around the library, and Mark suddenly bangs on the door. He demands to be let inside since he's clean. However, a student begs Mark for help and touches him, potentially infecting him. Because of that, Mark gets angry and bashes the student's skull. Seeing that he has no more chance of getting inside the library, Mark leaves. On the other side, Sheriff quits the police force and meets with his cousin. He continues convincing him to get out of town as a bloodbath pandemic is about to happen. Shortly after, Sheriff and his cousin arrive at a security checkpoint. To pass through, they knock out the guard and they scoot to escape. Back at the school, John notices that he's getting signs of infection on his arms. He immediately tells Cass to amputate his arms with a saw to prevent them from spreading. After amputating his arm, Cass takes care of him. Seconds later, they start kissing, but it seems that they are both infected since they have gooey saliva. Suddenly, Mark interrupts their kiss and whacks Cass with a hammer, breaking open her skull. Mark tries to kill John, but Cass saves him by shooting Mark's head with a nail gun. As both the couple recover, they run outside the exit in the auditorium. However, after running for a while, they're ambushed by the CCD. John tries to stall them so that Cass can run away, but he ends up getting restrained by the CCD. Cass keeps running through the forest, and he stumbles upon Sheriff and his cousin. She begs them to take her with them to safety, and they agree to help her. As they drive out of town, Cass's back is revealed to be showing signs of infection. Meanwhile, Emo Boy's supposed date, Liz, is shown working as a stripper, spreading the disease to other customers. Not long after, the disease is seen spreading to the whole country and even overseas. The infection has become a worldwide epidemic over the planet. This is Daniel's CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.